Girl, let's talk about it. Did you hear them talking about it? Oh my God, do you know this? What? Oh my God.
Oh my God, Shawty lovely and Nicole. Shawty lovely and Nicole on a roll. Lighting up the stream, the vibe is bold. Shawty lovely and Nicole, let's go. Kicking down doors, we make some noise. Grown folks talk with truth and voice. Doing it big, turning up the flow. Shawty lovely and Nicole, you know. Oh yeah, it's Shawty lovely and Nicole. Oh yeah, it's Shawty lovely and Nicole. Everywhere. Oh yeah, grown top vibes, the moment is here.
Thank you for tuning in.
Hey, girlfriend.
Hey, girlfriend. What's up? What's up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Unfiltered at 5 with Shelly Live and Leah Nicole.
Yes. Thursday vibes, honey. We sliding into Friday.
Coming in. It's Friday Eve, y'all. Week almost over with.
So we hope everybody had a good Memorial Day.
Yes, absolutely. I hope y'all got some of that good barbecue. Did some activities, had some fun, whether you rested and everything. Good 3-day weekend.
Yes, well, and a lot of rain.
Yes, a lot of rain.
The rain was raining. I'm from there's no give.
Yeah, it I didn't get a lot on my side of town, but I did see on other parts it was very drenched outside.
Yeah, we got hit with it really bad over here on the Fairburn area. It was raining. I didn't go outside. I was miserably inside in the rain. So what's on our agenda for this evening?
All right, everybody. Good evening. Today. On Unfiltered at 5 with Shelly Live and Leah Nicole, we are discussing a serious topic that affects families, schools, and communities everywhere. Who's protecting the students? Who is protecting these babies, y'all? More and more students are walking into schools feeling unsafe, unheard, overwhelmed, and unsupported. From bullying and violence to mental health struggles, social media pressure, many young people are carrying burdens that adults don't always see until it's too late. Parents are frustrated, teachers are overwhelmed, and students are crying out for help. And the question is, who is truly responsible for protecting them? The schools, the parents, society, or all of the above? Tonight, we are having the uncomfortable but necessary conversation about safety, accountability, and what needs to change before many young people fall through the cracks. Viewer discretion is advised. Some of the footage and topics discussed tonight may be disturbing or graphic to some viewers, and parental guidance is strongly recommended.
Yeah, there we have it. Yeah, it seems like here as of lately, and it may have been going on for a long time, that there are so many cases now reported over and over and over again. We hearing things, but we don't hear what happens. It's like it happens and then it goes away.
Right.
And then we have another wave where it comes back again, and then happens again.
Right.
And that's what we keep running into, these waves of things happening. And the question to parents is, do you feel like your kids are protected?
Right, absolutely. I mean, it's just crazy how it's happening more and more and more often these days. I mean, every time I look up on social media, we're looking at a video of a teacher and a student, whether they're being assaulted verbally, physically, sexually.
Right.
It's happening more and more now and everything. They really, I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know if it's going to take more cameras being put in the classrooms, cameras being put on the teachers. I don't know what it's going to take, but it's got to stop, and we got to do something.
I think when it comes to artistic kids, or kids that suffer from any type of, where they can't speak for themselves, where they can't, say somebody's hurting me, when they don't have a voice.
Right.
I think in those cases, and not downsizing any other child,
right.
but in the cases where a kid cannot speak for themselves, and they're being harmed, but they don't have a voice. So I think in those cases, there should be all the time, especially in kids for school, for artistic kids, that there should be some type of something in a school that gives a parent the piece where they can tap into their own camera on their phone, see what's going on in the classroom, see what's happening with their child throughout the day.
Right.
But they don't want it. It's like I don't know why the law only allows cameras on the outside. Used to be historically you could go to a daycare and you could pop in.
Yeah.
On your kid throughout the day. Now they're not popping in on the kid at all. So the question would be to why. And then you think about the lady that we're going to show today that hid the camera in her son's hair, who had an autism where he couldn't speak. And she kept noticing that her kid kept coming home with bruises after bruises. And she was like, hey, she's going to the school who's supposed to be her source. Hey, something's wrong. My kid keeps coming home. My kid's having all these issues, but he doesn't misbehave at home. So why is all these issues all of a sudden happening?
Right. And I can definitely relate. I definitely can relate to that. And, it's, I too have a nephew with autism. And it's very scary because, when certain things pop up on a child, like bruises and everything, is like, it's like, okay, where did this come from? It's very concerning and very alarming because, you're right. When the child can't speak or when they can't talk, then, it's like you it's hard. You can't, you don't know what happened. So it's sad that you have to go through measures like hiding a camera on your child's hair so that you can see what is being done to your child and everything. And then to find out that your child is being abused, it's very disheartening and heartbreaking. You send your child to school to get an education. They have an obligation to keep our children safe while they're at school.
Yeah, and that's
it's very scary. It's very scary. I'm scared, Right. Because like when it's time to have a child, it's like, okay, that's a scary thought,
Right.
To turn around, my child have to go to school. Is like, okay, do I send them to school? Do I homeschool them? Or do I, you don't.
Or you wait till they can talk.
Right.
You wait till they can talk. I remember when Harper had learned how to talk, I remember her, I wish I could have played the video. She came home one day and she said, Mommy, the teacher slapped me. And I said, well, and she was probably about 2. And I was like, slap you? I said, she didn't slap you. And she's like, yes, she did. And I'm like, how did she slap you? So I said, show me, and she grabs my hand and she said, don't do that again. So I said, oh, she really did. I said, well, what were you doing? She said, I was playing in the soap. So she was in the sink playing in the soap. And the teacher got upset and she slapped her. So I went to the school and I was like, hey, Harper came home and, she was telling me that the teacher slapped her. So, of course, they did an investigation and the teacher was honest. She was like, she was in the soap. And I had politely said, don't touch her again, because this one can talk for real. And she's going to tell, and that's the thing. We have to train our kids, to teach our kids that, hey, now I can't speak for kids that are autistic and can't talk for themselves.
Right.
But in my case, my daughter was able to speak,
And one thing that I don't understand, because I don't even understand why I do it, because kids gonna tell the truth. They gonna come back. They gonna tell the truth.
But if you put a kid in a situation where they're fearing something, and I think the kids that we're seeing, that we see these things come up on our feed, where kids are beat upside the head and teachers are doing the most and all this stuff that's going on with these children, they're in fear of going to happen? What's going to be the outcome? What's going to be the repercussion? Because sometimes people just get a slap on the wrist and they're gone about their business. They don't, there's nothing else to it.
Right. Absolutely.
And then what do you think happens emotionally to a child when they feel like they're being unheard at school?
Then I think what happens emotionally, they start acting out, having all kind of behavior problems, whether it's, disrespecting where they're being disrespectful, and, they start having all kind of behavior problems. They start, they're scared, whether they want to come to school, and, they're, some are afraid and they just shut down completely. They don't want to speak up.
They withdraw.
Right.
And as parents, you're supposed to know the behaviors of your own child. You have a child that goes from talking to not talking.
Right.
Wouldn't you, as a parent, look and say, what's the matter? What's wrong?
Right. Absolutely.
Speaking, what's or behaviors or drastic behavior changes that you can't understand or comprehend.
Right. And some parents, they catch on to it, but you'd be surprised how some parents, they don't catch on to it. They don't pay attention because they're not paying attention to their child. And, you'd be surprised how some parents just don't pay attention like that. But, that's what I'm saying. You gotta be involved. You gotta pay attention and everything, to your child, notice the difference and stuff like that. Some people really just don't pay attention to their child, and, behavior problems, and they don't get them the help that they need when there's a problem. They don't take the time to get them the help that they need.
Yeah. It's a big thing for I think parents to protect their children, because you think it's even from the bullying to the phones, now they don't want the phones in classes. It's like they're scaling back off so many things.
Right.
I think if people were held accountable or made examples of that, maybe they would act differently, because it's hard to take care of autistic kids because, they have things that they do that are harder.
Absolutely.
A job saying you're going to do a job if you already know you don't have the temperament to handle that kind of behavior.
Exactly.
That's my big thing with the whole thing. You can't deal with a kid that's hollering all day, then don't go to in the school where the kid's going to be hollering. It's like me. I know temperament is not, it's I'm very mild tempered. So little things ain't going to throw me out of whack when it comes to like behavior. But you pay attention to the teachers that are in the school. And a lot of times these kids come to the school and they are ridiculous. They're bad. And then the teacher's angry. So they start hitting on the kid. But what about the teacher we're going to play a video of a teacher that was on a clip that was in a school, and it's just a regular daycare. No artistic kids, no kids that are slow, none of that. It's just a regular school daycare. Right. And the teacher was caught hurting the kid, but then you have to look at what she got. That's the other thing. So we're going to play this video. Parents, please, if you have kids, don't have them watching this particular episode, because this episode is a little more graphic than some of our usual episodes. We have to talk about it.
And a former Plymouth daycare worker pleads guilty to misdemeanor assault charges after videos show Katie Voigt screaming at and roughly grabbing toddlers at the Little Explorers Child Care Center back in February. Now, before accepting a guilty plea, Voigt was facing up to a year behind bars. Now she could be sentenced to probation. Her sentencing, that is set for the end of September.
So what made it go from a 1 year to a probation?
That was about to be my question. Like, how did it go from 1 year to all of a sudden you just getting probation?
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? When is it accountable? That's the thing. When is there accountability? If there is no accountability, it's easy, right?
It's easy, yeah.
It shouldn't have to take you. Now, if I'm looking at her behaviors and she's yelling at kids, I mean, you got to temper. You got to temper. So how do we wait until she slaps the kid upside the head?
Right. That's what I'm saying. What is it going to take for you to really seriously harm someone, to really, do something about it. Like, what is it? It just is crazy to me.
Crazy, right?
Crazy.
Look at it, it's like, okay, what's happening? What's
Wow.
happening here? What's going on?
Because
And
I would be, it just make it, you know, as a parent, you know, it's so infuriating, like infuriating. You know, something happened to my child at school, my child come to me and tell me that you're hitting them and you're beating them. If I that
It's so
I would make you want to, let's just say I'll be in jail somewhere. I'll be in jail because that is it makes you furious. You know, you don't ever want to think about someone when you're sending your child off to school and a teacher harming your kid and everything. You're supposed to be there protecting my child, if anything, you know, making sure my child is safe. And you're the one that's causing harm. You're the one that's causing harm to my child. No.
Mm-hmm. And you're supposed to be protecting my child.
Right. You'd be surprised like how a lot of teachers really just don't like children. They just don't like kids.
It's different if a teacher is fearing a child. Now there are situations where I've seen, and I've pulled up articles and watched videos where teachers are defending themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's a teacher where the kid was in the classroom and she was sitting in a chair. She was kind of handicapped, and the boy was just slapping her. He just kept slapping her and kept slapping her. He was like, well, say something, do something. She kept slapping. She was like, no, I'm not going to do anything. And then he slapped her again. And then he slapped her again. And then all the students was in the classroom videotaping it. Now, that's what I'm saying. Like, where does the line go where you say, you know, what, you can't do that. But then on the flip side, how does it work? If it's kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a sticky thing, because it's like, how do you determine what's the right or the wrong?
Right.
Defend yourself. Now, in the case that we just watched, no, there's no 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 7-year-old trying to defend themselves. They are kids. They're minors. That's a different ball game, a different cup of tea. You can't come out here and, you know, want to molest a child and think it's cool. It's a good thing. So we're going to show a video where this lady, I think it was Washington, and she was doing this often. It wasn't a 1-2-1-2. It was a every day for this particular child. So let's run it.
Wow. Incredibly disturbing story. The details may be hard to hear, and they are not suitable for children. Thank you for being with us tonight. I'm Kirsten O'Connor. A Spokane public school teacher is in jail for allegedly raping one of her students. Mihaela Benavidez is a special education teacher at Stevens Elementary School. She was arrested Thursday for child rape and molestation and made her first appearance in court today. Madeline Mullins was there and is now live from Stevens Elementary School. So, Madeline, how long has this allegedly been going on?
Well, according to court documents, this abuse began around midwinter break and took place inside classrooms here at Stevens Elementary School. And it wasn't until mid-February, when one of the victim's family members came forward, that school staff and police got involved. Mihaela Benavidez made her first appearance in court today, a month after she was put on leave, and police began investigating this alleged abuse.
They responded, took the initial report, spoke with staff there, and then I know they came across some evidence that led them to call our special victims unit.
According to court documents, Benavidez has been abusing a 10-year-old student almost every day, sometimes multiple times a day, in what the victim described as a time-out room, and also in the classroom while other children were present.
The child victim describes that the defendant would purposely wear dresses or skirts to allow for an easier ability to quickly engage in the sexual abuse at school, and that she would position herself and the victim behind items such as a padded mat in the classroom to ensure that they would not be seen.
Court documents state that sometimes Benavidez would film these crimes and that she would take explicit videos of herself at home and show them to the child while at school.
The defendant held one of the highest positions of trust in this child's life. She used that trust to facilitate these sexual assaults against the child, and she told him not to tell anyone what she was doing to him.
Today, the judge set her bond at $750,000. The child's family's attorney released a statement stating, in part, parents entrust schools with their children every day. That trust exists because families believe their children will be safe in the care of the adults responsible for them. Every child deserves that safety.
I truly, that is, I'm disgusted, heartbroken. How do you every day and nobody knew nothing? No,
Teacher walk. You remember back in the day, the teachers would come and talk to you in your class.
right.
You got people walking down the
I,
hallway.
I was about to say nobody, no other staff members knew nothing. That's very hard to believe. Yeah,
Or is it the
very
situation
fishy.
they turn the blind eye? They see it, but they don't see it because they don't want to see it. You know, it's just like if you pull up to a gas station and you see a woman getting beat, do you stop it or do you say I'm not getting involved? It's the same thing.
Same thing.
Same thing on a different scale. You see what I'm saying? It's the same thing. It's the same thing as saying I don't want to be involved in that, so let me not be involved in it altogether. And you can't tell me in this time frame when this teacher's hiding behind mats and all kinds of stuff that nobody paying attention.
I was about to say nobody, but that's just very. I can't.
It's kind of suspect. It's kind of like
they need to lock that. They need to lock her ass up under the jail.
Under the jail, $750,000. How you know her family have it to get her out, and then his mother still suffering. Like she said, you entrust your kids to the school to say, hey, they're taking care of my kids during this time, and find out your kid isn't being taken care of at all.
Exactly.
Like, how do you deal? And then what kind of message is it sending to the kids? What kind of message is being sent out to the children when we ignore that they're saying things, or we're ignoring behaviors, or we're ignoring things that they're going through? What kind of message do we send out to these kids?
Right. Because children pick up on behavior. Children pick up on behaviors from adults and everything. And then, you know, that child may end up hurting another child. You know, it's just
they went through.
Right. It's like, oh my God. It's like for the school, they truly failed that child. They need to put that whole entire school up under investigation.
Trying to think about it. You think about school. Now, I've been to school. I know in school, when we was in school, it was always a teacher walking in a classroom. Teachers in a classroom. When did they start having one daycare teacher to one room? It was always two.
Right. I was about to say.
You know, someone could watch, someone's looking, you know, someone's paying attention to, and especially like in kids in situation where the kids are artistic, it was always multiple teachers in the room because you never know when an artistic kid is going to, like, you know, just have a bad day.
Right.
Because
absolutely.
Bad days. But they have moments you don't know.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. And then, you know, especially with it being like, you know, depending on how many students is in a classroom as well, you know, you would think that 2 people should be required in a classroom. To oversee and make sure that everything is on the up and up, and you know, especially, you know, as a lot of students, sometimes it's hard to, you know, to maintain.
It should probably be like 8 students to a teacher.
Right. I was about to say, or put
in a setting of an artistic kid. Artistic kids, they have things that set them off. So you already know you have a classroom full of 10.
Right.
And they all have different behaviors, and you know, artistic kids, they do stuff. There's some that masturbate, there's some that they do all kinds of stuff.
Right.
So if you have one person trying to do all of that, maybe it's overwhelming, and the only thing they know how to do is to hit them, and that's not justifying it. That's wrong.
That's wrong.
But it's what ends up happening, the teachers get tired. They're like, man, I'm tired of dealing, you know, with Sam over here biting me, or this one over here in a wheelchair that I can't tell to stop doing something.
Yeah, and they be putting a lot of untrained teachers in the schools. That's what I'm saying. You should have some type of special training to deal with children with disabilities, especially dealing with children with disabilities and stuff like that. But you know, you'd be surprised they just giving out jobs and stuff like that to these adults and everything who can't handle children with disabilities and stuff like that. And they're doing things like I said, not watching the child, and you know, they can't handle the child. So if you can't handle the child, then you in the wrong career.
What do you think some adults dismiss children when they say something is wrong? Because there are parents where a kid will come home and say something is wrong, and the parent will be like, "Oh, get out of here! You're always doing something, or you're always getting," and they run the kid off. And the kid is in this umbrella.
Yeah, and they do that a lot, and it's like what we said. They dismiss them because they think, oh, their children is the problem. Oh, you were misbehaving and everything. And then when it's too late, then they get upset. Instead of, that's what I'm saying. You gotta, when your child comes to you, when they tell you something, you need to listen, and then you need to look into it and everything. You need to look into it, but some parents don't look into it. They just they just brush it off, and then until it's too late, or until something serious happens, and it's not cool. So that's what I'm saying. My mom, every day, when I used to come home from school, every day, we talked to, my mom, had a long discussion with us about what happened at school. Hey, did you have a good day at school? What happened with your teacher? She was very involved, making sure, hey, did you have a problem with such and such teacher? Did what happened? How you doing on your homework? What's going on and stuff like that. That's what I'm saying. She was very involved in people's in my education.
Yeah,
and, wanted to make sure that we got treated right when we were in school, and stuff was, Do
you think that maybe that has to do with the younger generation, and they're hiring younger teachers that are not qualified?
Yeah, I do. I think it is a situation where they are hiring people who are not qualified and equipped to handle these kids. I do think it is a situation like that. Because I don't understand, because I can't tell you how many times, I don't want to tell any of my friends' business. I can't tell you how many times my friend have come to me and say, hey, why is this happening to my child? Why is his teeth bleeding? Why is this, then, the third? It's like, what are you doing? Like, are you watching? It's like, are you watching the children? Are you watching the children?
Of happening is because so many parents are planting cameras and putting stuff. Teachers are going to start feeling out these kids' backpacks, book bags, hair, because now they know you're being held accountable, and you don't know what the extent these parents are going through. It's just like with your it's no different than elderly abuse, when people are put in homes, nursing homes, and you see caretakers beating up their patients and popping off at their patients and doing all this stuff, and it's the same thing. Who's taking care of them? Who's speaking up for them when they're older and they can't do certain things for themselves? And then what about the parents that have to go in old folks home, that don't have the kids that can take care of them and hold down the fort when they're getting older? Right. Absolutely. But it's definitely heavy. I do want to play the clip of the mother that put the camera in the little boy's hair. This was the most recent one that the whole was watching, with this particular lady and what happened with her kid.
My son had a camera in his hair, and Mr. R is beating my baby, grabbing him by the neck and beating my child for no reason.
Drop me down. Get off me now, boy. Get over. Get over. Get out of here.
He's choking my son and calling him the N-word as soon as Sarah walks out the classroom. What? He's choking him, and that's why I said cameras need to be in the class. Y'all let this happen to him. I begged y'all. He was pinching him and choking him, calling him a stupid, and y'all let this happen. On a camera in his hair. Whoever it is, I don't know if it's you or Mr. R. Whoever was in that classroom, there's a man's voice. I see it. I think it's Mr. R. Was calling him and choking him.
I am sorry if that happened.
Y'all let this happen. I told y'all my son's a good boy. I had to put a camera on his hair just to see that my child's been abused in the classroom. Choked and being called, and he's nonverbal. This is my baby. My child, and he will get justice because y'all let this happen. Mr. R needs to get locked up now. It's on the camera. He's calling him and touching him. Your boy Get down. And my baby didn't even move. Oh, it's on record. Everybody share this because my nonverbal child has been abused and these people been letting it happen. Something told me put a camera. God told me. God told me. He's coming home with scratches on him, on his neck. Well, my sweet baby, he gotta go. This is somebody I'm trusting to take my son to the restroom every day. This is the worst, my little baby, my sweet baby. Oh, I'm just sick to my stomach. This is just the worst ever. I gotta tell his father this, and his father told me don't send him to the school. Somebody's doing something to our son. And I still sent him now. I just look like even worse. This is Field Elementary. My baby don't deserve this. I know he don't. It hurts my heart even more because my son can't say somebody's hurting me. I don't even want to watch the rest of the video. My son is non-verbal autistic.
Yeah.
That is wild.
Out. Yeah. I was sick. I was mad. I was going through all kind of emotions. I was furious. I was mad. I was crying. When I first saw that, I was upset. I was crying. All kind of things going on my head, going on.
Voice, yeah, you hear the pain.
Yes.
Because it's like a mother. It's like you feel like you didn't protect your kid.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Because he's nonverbal, you don't even know what he was feeling.
Right.
You know, because he can't tell you.
Right.
It is. It's some very horrible people in the world.
Right. And then they just steady sitting there like this woman is pouring her heart out, like, and they just standing sitting up there acting like they don't give two F's.
Yeah. Because a lot of times they don't. Like, a lot of times they don't. And then it's the thing of with that particular video, it's like, what was the kid doing?
Right. To make you like, what would possess you to even do something like that to an autistic child who's 7 years, this innocent baby?
It's a lot. And I don't know, the story's kind of dying down now. Because, I said they come up.
Right.
See them. It's like a wave. You get them. They come up. They'll run it back to back to back to back. Did we get justice? Did we get this? Did we get this? And then the story fades.
And
then you hear another one.
Right.
And it'll run on social media about 3, 4, 5 weeks, and then it'll fade. So it's like, at what point do you say, okay, when did we stop fading it out? When did we speak up? When did we say something? Did she get justice? Because they sweep it on what happened to the principal in the school? Did he get fired? Did he get calling him out of his name? Or did he get probation? Or what did you do?
Right.
Protect these people. They're going to say,
right.
Well, you don't see any faces.
And then what are you doing to prevent this from happening again to other students? What necessary measures and steps are you taking so that it does not happen to any of your other students?
If it's just a wash under the rug,
right?
It's like, it is what it is. If there's no repercussions behind anything a lot of people shouldn't even own daycares.
They shouldn't
around kids, but now it's so easy to open one. You see what I'm saying? It don't take a rocket scientist to open a daycare.
Right.
But everybody's not meant to be around kids.
It's not. And that's exactly what I'm saying. And that's what I don't understand. I mean, I'm sure you have to go through things, probably have to get background checks and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure but it's like, especially even with the lady that was raping the little boy and stuff like that. It's like, come on. Like, did you look at her criminal history? Look like they need to do really deep for jobs with children, being around children. You need to have like a deep dive into a deep dive in a background check, looking at family history, you need to consider all of that. I just don't know.
Or you seriously just say, we're going to start putting cameras in classrooms. Right. This is going to be across the board in every classroom. That way you kids taping it, because a lot of times you have these kids that videotape the people bullying, the people beating up on people's kids. They just videotape it, just put it on social media.
Right.
So if across the board you say it's just like you put a metal detector in a school to check somebody
Right.
for a gun. What's the difference between putting cameras, a little camera in the wall,
Right.
and my kids all day?
And if anything happens to a child and everything, the punishment needs to be severe.
A little bit more severe.
It needs to be more severe.
Oh, the kid wasn't injured. Oh, the kid wasn't hurt. Oh, nothing
Right.
happened, until you're that parent of that kid that it happened.
Right.
So it is definitely something. A lot of times we don't want to talk about the harsh things in life. We want to come on shows. We want to do, we want to talk about the gossip. We want to talk about
Right.
the great things, but there are things out here that you have to address. And you have to talk about because it happen.
That's what I'm saying. And our babies and protecting our babies and stuff at school. This is one of them. This is a topic that needs to be touched on because it's important. Because we gotta stop. We gotta do and that's what I'm saying. It takes, it's not only, and yes, cameras need to be put in the school, they need to be watched, but it takes us gathering together as a community to getting together as a community to do our part to make sure stuff like this doesn't happen and stuff like that. That's what I'm saying. Parents need to get together and start programs and stuff like that, and help each other out. We gotta definitely do our part in the community too. So
and we gotta stop being so fragile and afraid.
Mm-hmm.
Every time is not the time to turn the blind eye.
Right.
And that's stuff that happens. There's too many videos and there's too many things on social media with not just students, not just women being beat by men, kids being dragged,
mm-hmm.
kids being bullied. There's all these things, and we repost this stuff. We repost.
Right.
Watched the video the other day with the mother and the father was giving their child a blunt, and the child was no more than 1, teaching the child how to smoke the blunt and how to pull the weed in. And she was like, "Oh, he know what he doing. He know what he doing. Just watch him. And he's 1. He's 1."
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So when does it become about and why are we not pulling these kids out of these homes where
Right.
these people?
That's another thing. Like we're not doing enough of calling CPS because some people don't really deserve to be parents either. Some people don't need to be parents.
Yeah. And you have them. You have babies having babies.
Mm-hmm.
Babies trying to, you have young girls having babies, 10-year-olds, 14-year-olds, 12-year-olds. What can they do with a baby? What can they eat with a baby?
You're a baby yourself.
You're a baby yourself trying to take care of a baby. It's
Right.
not a baby. Oh, you can't give it back. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is when it's here. But then if you have a child having a child, how do they even know how to protect anything?
Right.
What is their level of understanding when it comes to protecting my child because they're a kid themselves and somebody didn't protect them from them even being pregnant at 10, 14, 12.
Right.
So it's, the world as a whole, you got to stand for something or nothing at all.
Right. Absolutely.
You can't always be about nothing.
Right.
It's mind-blowing that some of the stuff you see when you sit down, you see things taking place and you turn your back because you don't want to be involved.
Right.
It happens in friendships. It happens in houses. It happens.
Absolutely.
Turn the cheek and you say, I don't want to be involved in that. So I'm just going to act like I don't see it.
Right. And then like I said, when something serious happens and everything, then you want to cry. Now you want to regret. You can't do that.
I remember
just as guilt. My thing is when you turn your head and turn your back and try to close your eyes, you just as guilty in my eyes.
Seeing and unseen at the same
Right.
time. Remember, I had a camera at my door when I got my mom. And the nurse that came to the door this particular day, she was teaching another nurse how to take care of my mom, and my mom couldn't walk. So I go downstairs. Something just had me. I was at work and I was trying to get downstairs to open the door. So I just happened to press the camera, and they was out there talking. And the other lady was the one nurse was telling the other nurse, "Oh yeah, you got to be mindful of her. She could be a little bit much, and she's a little feisty. And you might have to talk to her a different kind." And I opened the door in the midst of their conversation. I said, "We're going to do what again now?" And she just looked shocked, like a deer in headlights. And I said, I don't want you to come back anymore. No, it wasn't. That's not what I was trying to explain. I was just I said, no, you can't explain because I've heard you.
Right.
And we're going to have a problem if I come home and this mother is looking crazy.
Right.
So I'm saying, so you have to pay attention. You have to pay attention to things. Like I said, it always starts with the behavior of your kid. If your kid comes home and something feels off as a parent, get a feeling in your gut that tells you something is wrong.
Right.
Something is off.
Right. Absolutely. And then also like having talks with your kids and stuff like that, teaching them, the differences between appropriate touch and inappropriate touch, having those conversations too plays a big part in this as well. Because they need to know the difference between inappropriate touch and appropriate touch and what's not appropriate, and and stuff like that. And then having conversations with them about making them feel safe to come to you and talk to you when things are wrong and things like that too. So
yeah, because if you're always a parent that runs your kid off or yells at your kid all the time,
and when
they're trying to express themselves, they clam up. So when something happens bad, because you got to think that little boy was 10 years old and his teacher was messing with him for all these years. At some point, that little boy had to be at home doing something.
Right.
He had to either been shelled in, something. You know what I'm saying? There's always going to be a sign of something. Like the mother that planted the camera in that little baby's hair.
Right.
She noticed that her son was coming home with scratches and marks, and she's like, "Why has he got all these scratches? Like, what's going on?" That's a mama paying attention.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You have to pay attention to what's in front of you.
Right.
And that's
absolutely.
That you do. It's crazy, but these are the things that we talk. It's even like bullying. People bullying in school. How many videos have we watched of kids just being bullied? And look at the mother. That last one we did, the last show, when the mother was beat up all the way from the school to her house, and then beat up again and dragged, hair pulled out her hair.
Yeah.
It took all of that for for their state to come together,
right,
and get her out of it. But it had to take an act of horror, attention of the state to say, "Hey, this is ugly. Hey, this is not good." And
right, absolutely.
It doesn't always start there. That's the problem.
Right.
It's like you have to shake up the world for something to happen, and that's the hard part in all of this. I say if you're having kids, make sure you can stay home with your kids until they can talk.
Right. Absolutely.
And start teaching your kids very young what, like what Leah said, what's appropriate touch, wrong touch. Somebody telling you to do something crazy, telling you to keep secrets that you're not supposed to keep.
Right.
Be mindful of who you bring around your kids. Men, you have mothers that have daughters, and they have their daughters around every man that they meet all day, every day. You don't see anything wrong with it. No, stop introducing your kids to all these different people, and it's with men too. Men introducing their daughters and their kids to.
You'd be surprised how some parents just think it's okay to bring anybody around their kid. You'd be surprised and everything. It's crazy.
And they do it with grace. Oh, that's Bobby. Right. Oh, that's Bert. And then the kids all confused.
Right.
No, these are things that causes things to happen.
Right. Just setting the wrong example for your kids and stuff like that. Doing things in front of your kids, having them think that it's okay. And then when they grow up, they think that this type of behavior is okay for them to do. It's normal. Yeah. You want to know something else I noticed, and I just have to say this and everything. I like that we touch on these topics, but you want to know what I noticed too? And I love all of our viewers. I appreciate each and every one of our viewers, but this topic was so important, and I really hope that people go back and watch this episode. I noticed that we don't have anybody in the comments today.
Yeah, but they come back and they watch, and
I know, but I just had to say this because we typically get some comments on here and stuff like that. If we was talking about anything else and everything, everybody would be in these comments.
People like the less heavier stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Have to talk about stuff,
right?
about stuff. You can't eliminate you can't eliminate certain things,
Right,
and you have
right,
to send the message out there, and
right.
and the message gets heard.
It's so important that we talk about this and that we bring awareness to it, because it's not being talked about enough, and it's not being brought, and people are just making light and, oh, just another case and stuff like that. No, we have to talk about these things. Like I said, get it so it doesn't continue to keep on happening,
repeated stuff over and over and over again.
Right.
And it's like I said, certain things people are going to gravitate to. Social media is more about the gossip.
Right.
They like to hear about the gossip, and when the gossip's not there, it's like station is like, oh, this is kind of like heavy. I don't really want to have this heaviness on my heart. But if you never talk about the things that are heavy, why say anything when the act actually happens? Because you'll see a video that posts and you'll see 3,000 views and 3,000 messages about what should have happened and what should have taken place, but you're never the one to speak up about it.
Right. Absolutely. It's just
it's
crazy, but that's what I'm saying. We gotta do better. We gotta do better. Like we got to do better, because we so concerned about with this celebrity, that celebrity, and what they going through, and who this. But when we talking about something, let it be about something important and serious. Let it be about the children. Then don't nobody wanna talk about that.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. We sit here, y'all, and we really do go through topics. We look on social media. We see what we see.
Right.
A lot of times I'll say, Leah, that's heavy, girl. That's real heavy. And then we'll come to an agreement and we'll say, no, we got to talk about that.
Right.
Because it's a lot with social media now. Like I said, I have been, I post and I come up and I post the videos and I post stuff and I post whatever I'm doing. But as far as like me looking on more than that now, it's hard to look on because there's so much going on.
Absolutely.
So much going on in the world, you can't lend a blind eye anymore. Now you got to look at it and be like, oh God, I can't unsee it.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's important to sometimes take little. It's okay to take little small breaks from social media, because it could be a lot of heavy stuff, and then amongst with all what you have going on in your life and everything, that can,
and then you add social media to that, and that's what you have. And it's every time social media is somebody's drama. You never gonna hear. It's even like when we did the show about the celebrities. You're never gonna hear about the good celebrities, the good that they're doing. Oh, they had a great kid. The baby was beautiful. You're not gonna hear that first. You're gonna hear, oh my God, they cheated with such and such and such and such. Ran a train and this person seeing such and such. And it's the drama because it keeps the energy going. Keeps it recycling. There's nothing in it if it's not recycling the news.
Right.
That little boy's story that was the camera that ran for about a good month.
Right. I was about to say, and after that.
And after that, it was gone. So you
no update, no type of, of this. Like I'm still in what's going on in my mind. Did that mother get justice?
Did she get
justice?
She said she will. Now she probably don't went to, and then you get a judge that might pat it on the back and say, okay, but you shouldn't have the camera. Is it admissible?
Yeah.
Can you use it? Because it was planted secretly.
It's sad because if she never would have put that camera on there, she never would have found out what was going on.
Right.
She had to do her own investigation to find out what was going on with her child. Why is my child coming home bruised up, banged up every day? What is going on? So.
And baby, Old Faith for Amazon, honey. You can get anything on Amazon that you can think of.
Right.
To pinpoint. It could be, you got glasses now that you can tap and record as they're walking. It's all kinds of gadgets and trinkets and book bags that have cameras in the cords. It's all kinds of stuff. But what I think is going to end up happening is teachers are going to get smart and they're going to start patting down these kids.
Yep.
To see if something is happening before they walk in the room. They're going to just until somebody says, okay, enough is enough, we're going to put cameras everywhere. Because, in high school, they have cameras in the hallway. Well, what good is it in the hallway? The teachers are getting beat up in the classroom. So you gotta make it make sense as a whole. You gotta make it make sense. And when you're making it make sense, you have to protect the innocents because they are the innocent. And the Bible does say you hurt a child, it's like hurting the closest thing to God.
Right.
You
Absolutely.
can't, just don't do it. It's a no-brainer. You can't hurt somebody that can't protect themselves.
Exactly. Why would you want to? I just don't understand. It's like, why would you want to hurt someone that can't protect themselves? Like,
I can understand a person that molests a child. I don't know what you can get out of that. Like,
right.
I don't know what people get out of that and how you do it. And even when looking at the video of that lady, she looked like she didn't care.
At all.
Like
At
she didn't,
all. Like, no remorse.
it was
No
just like,
type of remorse.
I got caught and what?
Right.
But then how many kids before that kid? And like you said, where was the teachers? Where was the teachers that walk in and out the classroom during the day?
And who
Where the
knows? Who knows if she did this to other kids as well? Who knows if she did this to other kids, and they haven't spoke up and said anything about it and everything? That's what I'm saying. We start questioning your kids and everything. Start having those conversations and everything. That's what I'm saying. So they can feel comfortable enough to come to you and talk to you about what's going on while they're at school. What's going on? That's what I'm saying. You got to get involved. You got to get involved. I'm not saying that, parents are not involved in everything what their child is going to, but this has got to stop. It's got to stop.
Yeah. And then you have parents that work 9 to 5. They come home tired. Their kids are pretty much raising themselves. You have those two. Yep. Everything, because economy and everything is kind of up in the air right now. So you have all these different things that you have to factor in. And then the parent comes home tired and don't have time to pay attention to the child that's suffering. And the child goes. So by the time you get home, your child is asleep. So you never ask your child, hey, how was it today at school? Hey, what's going on? Hey, what happened? Let me pay attention to your folder. Let me see what you did. You get a good grade or a bad grade? And every parent can't afford private school. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that is true. And I get it. But, like I said, I was raised with a single parent. She worked and everything, would be exhausted when she came home and everything, but still found the time to come in, sit with us. She's like, okay, let me go ahead and get off the phone. Whoever I'm on the phone with, check their homework, make sure your reading is good, make sure, all their work is finished. They sit up here watching TV, got to cook dinner and everything. So, I do believe it can be done, but
and there you can't make it be the blame because you're a single parent or you're a parent of two. The ones of two should be doing better. But
that's what I'm saying.
And it is a mother,
you would think,
father who's trying, and there's no support group because nowadays you don't have a support group. You are the support. You are you're the support. You're the base. You're the foundation. I too, like you, a single mom. My kids are raised. They're older now, and thank God. But it takes a village, and if you don't have a village, you are the village.
Right.
And you have to pay attention to, hey, what's going on, mood swings. Even my kids now, they're older, but I can look at them and tell when something's wrong. I can look and go, oh, what's bothering you? What's the matter? By the mood, by the temperature in the room. And that is how you pay attention to your kids to see what they're up against and you can't just be always about you when you have kids. You give up the right when you have children. You give up the right to be selfish.
Right.
So, that's our show for today. And we hope that you all share, subscribe this content because it's a content that needs to be heard.
Yes, absolutely.
And we have to talk about things because these things are important to talk about. We can't always kumbaya on the show. We have to talk about the things that are hard, the things that are bad, and the things that are good. And that's
absolutely. We have to, like I said, we have to get together as a community. We got to protect our babies as much as we can. So yes. But we definitely appreciate each and every one of our viewers. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe on all our platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Yes, all of our platforms. We love you all. We appreciate you all so much for tuning in and day out with us. And these are your girls, Shelly Live and Leah Cole. We out with Unfiltered at 5. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Girl, let's talk about it. Did you hear that? Talking about it? Oh my God, do you know this? What? Oh my God.
Oh my God, it's Shani Lavenly and Nicole. Shani Lavenly and Nicole on a roll. Lighting up the stream, the vibe is bold. Shani Lavenly and Nicole, let's go. Kicking down doors, we make some noise. Grown folks talk with truth and voice. Doing it big, turning up the flow. Shani Lavenly and Nicole, you know. Oh yeah, it's Shani Lavenly and Nicole. Oh yeah, it's Shani Lavenly and Nicole. Everywhere, it's Shani Lavenly and Nicole. Oh yeah, grown talk vibes, the moment is here.
Thank you for tuning in.